Welcome to episode 1 of Live from the Blind. We are in Memphis, Tennessee, and we're getting ready to have our first show with Shin Gear live here on location. Garrett, we've been getting ready for this show for quite a while now.
Yeah, so a lot of time and a lot of preparation has gone into this show. We're really excited about it. We're really hoping that our viewers enjoy the show. We got a great lineup of guests and sponsors that are going to be coming on the show. And just a special thank you to our sponsors, because without them, this show doesn't happen. And so, Brian, you want to give us a quick rundown on our sponsors?
Yeah, so all of these people that we got with, we shared our passion for the outdoors and kind of what we wanted to do with the show. And they were, good enough to us to come on board and help us out to get this show started. The one that we've got today, of course, is Shin Gear. We appreciate those guys for coming on board from the very beginning with us. Apex Ammunition, Alpha Innovations, Bradshaw Sporting Dog Veterinarian, Stratton Seed Company, Baits and Blades, Extreme Dog Fuel, Muddy Wing Retrievers, High and Dry, and Perfect Limit Outdoors. So we appreciate all of those companies and all the products and the information and things that they bring to the outdoor industry. We appreciate them for being sponsors of our show, and we look forward to bringing you each and every one of those this season. On the first season of The Blind, we want to make sure that we highlight each and every one of our sponsors and make sure that all of their products that we believe in so much, we want you as our viewers to make sure that you see them as well. And so along the way, we're going to show you, like we said, products. We're going to talk about hunting, conservation, land management, sporting dogs, and then we're going to incorporate some kids along the way. And so speaking of kids, we want to jump right into our first segment where we're going to have our picture of the week. Each and every week you can send in pictures to our email that'll be listed below, and we'd love to get a picture of you or your kids of all your hunting adventures on our air for each and every episode. And so we're going to break for just a second and go to our first picture of the week. So we appreciate Mark Pickard for sending in that picture of the week of Kylan Edwards. He shot his first dove in Garland City, and so we appreciate that picture being sent in. Each and every week, you can also email us your recipes, and we'll try to have your outdoor and wildlife recipes put on our show. This week is sent in by Braxton Langdon, and kind of hitting on what Kylan did, he's got some bacon-wrapped dove breasts, and so we appreciate him for sending it in. We'll show you the picture here. We appreciate all of you for submitting your pictures and your recipes. Make sure you go to our email that's listed below. Send in your recipes and your pictures each and every week. We'll try to get you on our show. We're going to take a short break, and as we mentioned, we're in Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to come back with Field Norris, one of the co-founders of Shin Gear. Welcome back from our coffee break. We're here with Field Norris. Before we get to that, we want to give a big shout out to our official coffee company of the Blind, Dirty Duck Coffee Company. We appreciate them for supplying us with coffee each and every week, help us stay awake during the show. And so we've all got our coffee and ready to go. But our first guest of the season. We've been looking forward to it. We've got Field Norris, co-founder of Shin Gear. So, Field, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us.
Thank you. I'm going to need a little bit extra help staying awake. It's been a long week, but welcome to Memphis. Thank you all
Hopefully
for
our viewers stay away.
That's right. Thank you for making the trip up here. We're really happy to have you. This is
We appreciate
a neat
you.
deal.
Yep. And, you know, we were talking off camera just a minute ago about this not necessarily looking like a blind, more like a locker room. But
Yeah,
it's a
we
pretty
tried
nice
to,
locker
we tried
room.
to
in
make
there.
it look a little ducky in here.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a lot of products around us, a lot of products out in the warehouse, lots of waiters. We're going to get to those here in just a minute. But speaking of waiters, that's kind of how the whole company kind of, you know, got started. So why don't you start us from the beginning, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and then how you got involved in this endeavor.
Yeah. So first off, we're really excited about what you guys are doing.
We appreciate it.
It's always good for the industry to have new blood and new ideas. So you got a great group of partners behind you, and we're glad to be a part of it. So, you know, not probably listening to your opening segment, we got started probably real similar to the way a lot of your partners got started. I mean, we saw a problem, we identified a problem, and we came up with a solution. The problem we happened to tackle was sitting around the duck hole in the woods every year. I just got sick and tired of making jokes about how long our waiters would last.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I mean, we all at one time or another have you know, is this going to be a 1-season pair, a 2-season pair? And if you get 3 seasons out of it, it's like a home run, right? Yeah. So we just thought that it was about time. You know, this country, we've put men on the moon. We've got all kinds of neat stuff like digital printing and self-driving autonomous cars, and we ought to be able to build a waiter that can last a decade or more. So.
Right. And so, you know, sounds like a few of you guys kind of got together to tackle this problem together. Tell us a little bit about, you know, how you guys got together and how y'all formed the company.
Yeah, so there are really 4, I guess, co-founders, and we're all friends, but I wouldn't say we're old high school hunting buddies or anything, but the story's not quite as romantic as that. But we assembled a team of folks that we believed could all work together. We had a common vision and a bond that we all have, that we all share of being outdoors.
Yeah.
And we got a group together, and everyone kind of invested their time and their knowledge and their money, and we kicked it off. And everyone's really pulled their weight. But you know, it's been a labor of love. The real people that have made this a success are the folks in the warehouse every day and talking to the customers every day. And then our partners like you out there in the field that give us constant feedback. And it's amazing if you listen to customers and you take the time to listen to customers and people that are using the product. It's amazing how it just kind of builds itself.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that I think is so interesting about Shin is, you know, we say that you started the company around a waiter, but really one of y'all's core values is really supporting the products that you put out there. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, that's a great point. So I look at it really the challenge or the problem I called it earlier was the waiter. We didn't have a waiter that lasted very long. But then there was also an opportunity that we felt like was a big opportunity in the market to deliver a customer service experience that many of our customers aren't really used to in today's world. So that's been the most fun part to me, is to take care of people and to really start to develop a culture behind the brand that stands for something.
Yeah.
You know? So
Right.
there's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot to unpack there, but it really starts with our customer service promise to everyone. That's backed by our lifetime warranty. And, you know, a lifetime warranty, I don't care whose you read out there, the lawyers are going to make you jam a bunch of stuff in there.
Yeah, of course.
That sounds like there's a real easy way to back out, but regardless of what the warranty says, we want folks to judge us on our actions. So that's where we feel like we really get an opportunity to shine, is when someone has a problem. I love it when, you know, there's a manufacturing defect or a zipper breaks or something happens, because that gives us an opportunity to show that customer what it's like to do business with a premium brand that cares about them.
Yeah, and speaking of, customer interaction, that's kind of the story behind how we got involved, with you as well.
That's true.
Right.
I was messaging on social media about a waiter and kind of wanted to see what it looked like other than just pictures online. And I think Dylan, one of the guys that works for y'all, he was messaging me back. And then one day I was messaging the same thread and you saw it and started messaging me back. And then you said, hey, I'm going to send you a picture of it. And we got to talking, and one thing led to another, and here we are today. But just that customer interaction, everybody watching at home, I'm not saying if you message them on Instagram that one of the owners is going to,
Too many now. It was a lot easier a couple years ago.
But, but still, even if you're not doing it, Dylan or one of the
Dylan
other guys
or Carter or Morgan,
Yeah.
I mean, or any of us. I mean, I do still get on there and check messages every day, and we all still from owners right down to folks working in the warehouse, we write handwritten notes to every customer that buys a pair of waders, and we want the feedback loop is so important to what we're trying to do here. We're trying to design gear that will last a lifetime, that solves problems, that offers solutions, and has an incredible team of passionate waterfowlers and passionate conservationists standing behind it. And it's really that simple.
Right. Well, and people, if they take the time to look at your products, which a lot of them online you can't touch and feel, but if you order any or you come by their warehouse here in Memphis and you look at your products, you can tell they're made by duck hunters. They've all got a purpose, and I know we're going to get into that here in a little while of what each, kind of the purpose is of all of it, but it's not something that y'all are just throwing out on the market. There's a lot of thought that goes behind it before you're putting it out. It's not just a gimmick or trying to make money.
Right.
You guys are putting ideas out that you want to make the outdoor industry better.
And you're also testing them
2 years.
for a good amount of time before you ever put it out there, right?
That's one of our key tenets, and so when we design, one of the neat things about building a business from scratch is you start with a blank piece of paper and you say, okay, if we could design it however we wanted to design it, and in our case, we're fortunate that we said that there is no end game, there's no objective, we don't have to meet a profit margin, we just want to build the absolute best wader we could possibly build, and then let's see if there's a way we can price it so that somebody else would buy it. Yeah. And if nobody buys it, then I'm going to have a lot of Christmas gifts for the next 20 years riding around the back of my truck giving away at hunting clubs. But that's really how we started, is let's just build the best. And let's don't tie our hands to any one metric. And then so it's not good enough just to build it. Once you build it, then how do you continue to improve it? How do you take customer feedback from that first season, second season, third season? Yeah. And then how do you make sure that moves into every other aspect and every other design that you're putting out there? So we really feel that you have to have 2 years in the woods, in the water, to make sure what you think should work really works.
Yeah. Well, Phil, before we get off here and move on to another subject, I want to ask you about day number 1. Because I know you and I had talked about this, but, when the waders went live, tell us about that day, because I know y'all kind of expected a certain amount of sales in that day, and tell us about the mark you hit and where your bar was and how, you just tell us a story.
Well, I'm gonna get deep here. I hope I don't get emotional, but there are very few moments in life. Truly, it's my wedding day. I remember that feeling, and my 2 children. So I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old now, Field and Louise, and I remember that feeling. And this doesn't quite reach that level, but it is almost like having a child when you birth this brand and all the blood, sweat, and tears, and the years and years of working in the kind of peripheral of the industry, and obviously being a passionate waterfowler myself. It all. This is it. Here's the day, and we're launching. We're coming to the market, and we've built up. We've hyped everything, and it was just a great feeling. And we were fortunate that the market supported us and embraced us. And again, like I said, it wouldn't be here, and it wouldn't have happened the way it happened without all the great people working with us and the partners out there that have been supporting us. So.
We, like I said, Garrett and I have both been wearing it now for over a year. We love it. You know, we try to answer questions for folks all the time, you know, to tell them the best of our knowledge. But, you know, whether we know the exact details of how everything's made or not, we've tested it. You know, we hunt in buckbrush and breaking ice with the knees of your waders and, you know, things that
getting in and out of boats.
We've put it to the test, and we truly believe in, and that's one reason why I reached out to you when we decided to do this show, because we wanted to bring products and companies a part of our show to our viewers of stuff we believed in.
Right.
Because we don't want to sell a false product trying to, you know, have a brand on here and we're talking about them and we truly don't believe in them. So, you know, you've made us believers, so we hope that everybody watching.
Thank you. It's you know, there are a lot of just growing up. I can remember as a kid dreaming about coming up with stuff like this, you know, and the people in the industry that I respected, and I mean the videos, you know, all the Mossy Oak Whistling Wings videos, and Primo's Truth videos and stuff that I grew up watching. What's so neat about our brand is that we're inviting everyone, people like you. Anyone that wants to affiliate with our brand, we're inviting you to plug in and come to us with ideas. And everyone may not have the opportunity to launch a business like this, but we can certainly help you incorporate your ideas into good stuff that you'd be proud of, and create a culture that you'd be proud to associate with.
Yeah. Well, look, we're going to take a short break here in just a second. We're going to come back and we're going to look at this product. Everybody wants to see the waders. We've seen them, but we're going to look at them again. We love looking at them, but we're going to get you to show everybody all the aspects of the waders. We'll talk about the wader a little bit. We're going to take a short break. Before we do, we're going to have this week's sporting dog tip from Dr. Jonathan Bradshaw.
Hey guys, so this week's tip is how to deal with your dog in a boat. I see so many dogs that just run all over the boat, stay in precarious spots like up front. We got to be careful about this. I've seen so many injuries. So one of the injuries that I've seen is there was a dog that was running from left to right on the boat. They were going through the boat lane down the blue line, and she popped her head out and hit her head on a tree going down. Luckily she was okay, but it could have been really bad had the boat driver been going any faster, you know. Another scenario that I heard about is dogs sitting on the front of the boat, you know, dogs running from boat to boat. It's really important for you to teach your dog how to place, and placing in the boat's super important.
I think when I was little, I'd always go with my parents. We'd go to our local vet, who was Dr. Wadley in Searcy. In my mind, it just got a sense of respect anytime you went in there. And so naturally, as a little boy, I always wanted to be that person. And then as I realized I loved dogs, and then as I realized I loved duck hunting, mixing your passion essentially with what you do every day, it's just hard to beat.
All right, we're back in the blind with Phil Norris of Shin Gear, and we're going to start talking a little bit about this wader, and it's kind of the product that the whole company kind of started around. And for us as waterfowlers, it's one of our most important pieces of equipment that we use every single day. And so we just want to kind of hit some of the highlights on the wader, and starting from the boot. Phil,
This is the product. This is it.
Yeah.
So we start down at the boot. You know, the boot is obviously one of the most important parts. We hunt on a lot of gumbo and, you know, buckshot, clay type based soils in northeastern Arkansas, and you know, you want to have a boot that fits tight enough to your foot, but doesn't your foot's not constantly coming out when you're walking and wading. We also have some unbelievable WMAs in Arkansas, you know, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of acres of public hunting opportunity. And a lot of guys travel long distances every morning on foot, especially a year like this where it's dry. We don't have enough water to get to where we need to go. So the boot starts with the hard rubber outsole. We've got a non-stick base on it. And then in the middle, the mid layer here is an EVA foam footbed. So this is what gives you a lot of cushion. That, think about a croc, you know, something that's comfortable to your foot and kind of forms around your foot. And then as we move up, the ankle area right here is really important to have flex. And you know, if you've ever worn a rubber boot that doesn't have this neoprene here, it really starts to rub on your ankle and scratch your ankle. So that's important. The issue that we found with that, and we were testing it, and just hunting with other products over the years, is that it leaves yourself vulnerable to stobs.
Right.
You know, you're walking through the buckbrush or
Yeah.
the cypress and you get a little knee, that tends to be a weak
Go
point.
straight through it.
Straight through it. So we built this protective sheath, this covering, and it worked great. Now this was the testing to get this to have the right amount of elasticity to stay in place and not get hung up and caught. It took some work. One of the things that we really spent some time on was designing a drain system that would allow water to come out of here and not flood your boat.
Right, which that's for us, that's really important
Yeah.
because we hunt out of boats a lot. And a lot of times when we get in the boat and we pull all the water up in there, if it's cold outside, it freezes to the bottom of the boat. And then we're slipping and sliding in the bottom of the boat. And so the drier that the bottom of the boat stays and the less water, definitely the better.
Yeah, and one of the things that helps with that is just not having an abundance of fabric. So if the wader fits close to your body, and we can avoid having a bunch of extra material, that really cuts down on the water, you know, the excess water as you're climbing in. So as we move up, one of the things you'll notice, the camera probably won't pick this up, but the seams, you won't see any stitching on these seams that
Right.
come up through the legs. They're mechanically bonded. That's a fancy word for welded together. It's a technical process, but what I learned throughout the development of these waders is that, you know, on a typical polyester wader that has needle stitching in
Right.
it, you've got about 11 little holes per square inch, and the only thing keeping the water out of those little holes is the waterproof tape backing
Right.
on the inside.
Right.
So
You don't want to start a wader with holes.
right. I mean, so we eliminated that.
Right.
Now it's expensive and it takes time, and it was difficult to figure out, but it
You also
ultimately.
kind of put the I guess not stitching, but where they're welded together is in areas of lower stress,
That's
right?
exactly right. So we tried to take, instead of having the seam come straight up the inner thigh there, we wrapped it around the knee so that you avoid the constant contact and rubbing
Right.
that you do when you walk. So the material, everything that's good and lasting starts with a good foundation. This is a nylon. This is a 4-layer breathable nylon wader. Most of the waders that we were able to find out there are made of polyester. This is just a much more, it's a tougher fabric.
Right.
The issue with nylon was that the typical camo print transfer method, the nylon, you know, it wasn't able to hold the camo pattern.
Right.
So we digitally print the camo on this fabric.
That also helps with not adding heat to the fabric, which
Exactly.
should decrease the integrity of the fabric, right?
When you put a camo pattern on a typical fabric, the process involved, there's a lot of heat involved,
Right.
and that starts to break down
Right.
the integrity of the fabric. You're exactly right. So the 4-layer, I'm not going to get too technical. My partner Jeff
Right.
Jones can go through the hydrophobic and hydrophilic and
Yeah, or
you know,
their
the
Instagram
Truco
or
liner.
Facebook page, they're
Yeah,
all
yeah,
there.
yeah. But the bottom line is this wader is designed to be breathable. All it's designed to do is keep you dry.
Right.
Okay, so we get that question all the time. We keep the water out, and you figure out how to layer underneath this wader
Right.
to keep yourself warm.
And that also gives y'all the ability to service these easier, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not
You
having the
don't have
insulation in
an
the-
insulated liner inside that you're exactly right. So if we get a big gash here, let's say you cut on a barbed wire fence, you know,
Right.
we can very easily patch it and fix it here in Memphis and turn it around in a day and get you back out there. As we move up, you notice we've got a belt. This comes from, this is kind of a rock climbing type elasticity concept. The zipper, this is important. The YKK zipper, this is the nicest waterproof zipper they make. It makes it real easy to get in and out of the wader.
Very heavy duty.
It's heavy duty.
Yeah.
And we do have, you know, different care methods to take care of the zipper. We get that question a lot. We're happy
Right.
to help kind of tell you some things you can do after every hunt or every year to make sure that lasts. But all of this is serviceable. It's all replaceable.
Right.
So if the zipper does fail, we can take care of that for you.
So tell us a little bit about the placement of the hand pockets.
Yeah, so we got a couple different pockets. These pockets On the inside, they're not waterproof like this zipper
Right.
is. They're water resistant zippers,
Right.
but they do a pretty good job. I don't mind running the risk. You know, everybody has a cell phone now. Unfortunately, even when we're hunting, we've got it. So this is a great spot that I can kind of slide it in when I'm calling ducks.
I like the placement of them because they're not gimmicky. They're just useful.
Yeah.
You know, the areas where they are is perfect for holding shields. Like he said, you put your phone in there. You said
Yep.
that there's a spot for a hand warmer.
Yeah.
Is
So
that right?
these pockets on the outside, these are fleece lined. This is your hand warmer pocket. Now, I've got Raynaud's disease, and it's my hands just the minute they get
too cold.
they get cold, and they get a little bit wet, and it's over, and I can't recover from it. So when I'm blowing the duck call and working the dog and trying to organize the hunt, the minute I grab that first duck of the morning from the dog, the hand gets wet, and then inevitably when it goes in here, whatever's in this pocket gets wet.
Right.
So we designed this inside pocket that's got a magnet, and this is where I personally like to drop hot hands on the inside and just
So
magnet.
your hot hands stay dry. You stick your
That's
hands
exactly
in here,
right.
but you can feel the heat
The
transfer.
heat transfers through the material, and it warms the hand without getting
Right.
hot hand. You know, when
Right.
they get hard
Right.
as soon as they get
Yeah.
wet. So, yeah, that was kind of a little neat design. But other guys, they use it for all kinds of stuff. Most people that I talk to put their cell phone in here
Right.
because they feel like if it
it's-
falls or if they
it's
miss the
inside.
pocket, it's inside the wader.
Yeah.
So
Well, one of my favorite things about it is actually the straps.
Yep.
And so in other waders that I've used in the past, the straps were really stretchy, and I put shells here and they'd weigh me down. And I like that these straps aren't stretchy, and so wherever you put them is
Yep.
where you are when you put them on, and when you take them off, they're still in the same spot.
That's exactly right. So they are adjustable depending on what you have underneath the wader, you know, whatever you're layering that day. But you're right, they're not stretchy, so they're not going to wear out. And it's a real comfortable harness system that's got 3 anchor points back here. So if you are walking and you're carrying decoys and your shotgun, you can cinch them up tight, and you can actually feel the weight of the wader come off and transfer out across your back. It's just a great design, and everyone's real
Right.
pleased with it.
And these also come in a lot of different size variations, and then you've got a few different color patterns, right?
That's right. So the camo we have, this is Mossy Oak New Bottomland. We've got Mossy Oak Original Bottomland, and then we've got Mossy Oak Habitat. And then we've got some solids. We've got a 1 or 2 solid colors out there. The sizing, your shoe size, the boot
Right.
fits pretty true to size. And then on the body, we have sizes from extra small all the way up to 3XL. So the best way I can describe it is whatever, generally, the coat that you would order, if you order a large fleece pullover or whatever, you're probably a large body
Right.
size. But we got a sizing chart on the website,
Right.
and Morgan would be happy to help.
Yeah,
anybody
so
with
if you
sizing.
have any questions, you know, you can always go to their website and look at all their different sizes, colors, all their products. But you did say it comes in different colors, is that right?
Yeah, we've got 3 different camo patterns. We've got 1 field pattern, two bottomland timber patterns, and then the solid color this year's Shadow. It's a dark charcoal-y type color, and it's been real popular.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, well, we appreciate you telling us about the waders, and we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Okay, all right.
Welcome back to The Blind. We're here with Shin Gear and Field Norris, and we've already talked about the wader and some other things, but we kind of want to get into the other apparel and the rest of the lineup. And, you kind of talked about solving problems as kind of one of y'all's core philosophies. And I just wanted you to kind of walk us through the product line. What problems are those solving, and how do they kind of work together?
Well, yeah, so we do have a full line now, and we're continuing to develop it and innovate and add to it. We obviously don't have time, and I don't want to bore everybody walking you through each and every item, but kind of the core principle behind it is it is a layering system. Okay, so we start off with a base layer. This is called our 60 series. It happens to be my favorite piece, 60 series, because you can wear it every day of season. I wear this during turkey season, crappie fishing. I wore it to coach the flag football game the other night. It's just, this is the time of year I'm pretty much living in that piece. But it is kind of the base to everything that we do, and then you layer on top of that. So we have formed and fitted pieces that go on top of that, from vests. Then we get into the outerwear, the coats, and what another core kind of belief that we have is every piece should serve a purpose, and that piece should do exactly what we designed it to do and nothing else. So
right.
What I mean by that is a raincoat, our new Hydrolock that we just launched a month or so ago. It is a raincoat. I mean, it doesn't have any gimmick. What you will not find at Shin Gear is some gimmicky item on there that was kind of thrown on there to market. And,
right.
That's what I learned. It kind of happens in this industry sometimes, is that you add things in places to maybe make them stand out from other products that are out there, and to try to help sell more product. And that's just not what we're going to do.
Right, you're keeping the hunter in mind instead of just the consumer catching somebody's eye, right?
That's right. I mean, it is a crowded, it's a crowded field, and there's a product for everything. And look, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to brag that we've got, the best raincoat with this stuff's not made of angel dust. I mean, it is a man-made, hand-made garment. And, they're just different things, different cuts, different feels, different materials, and
right.
different zippers and finishes that go into them. So.
Well, and I think that's what makes it more appealing, at least to us and a lot of people that are out there, because there's tons of people wearing y'all's waders and apparel now. But one thing that people need to know is, like you said, it is a system, and things are built for a certain purpose. So just briefly, you mentioned the Hydrolock jacket that came out not long ago, and it's built for that. Right. A lot of times you'll get a waterproof jacket, but it's got a big liner in it, or it's this or it's that. And as duck hunters, I know everyone that's watching that's a duck hunter, us three can vouch for it. It doesn't matter if the temp is just a little bit different one day or the next, or what. You've got certain stuff you wear for different temperatures, wind, rain, everything, instead of just one big jacket like we used to when we all bought the 3-in-1. You had one jacket, and you were either hot or cold or whatever, but you had one jacket. Yeah. Now you've got different things that are built for certain
and it's
purposes.
Different than, there's an old saying, what's old is new again, and, not to walk too far back into history, but the first hunting coat that my dad bought for me was the old Columbia Widgeon. I think it was the 3-in-1, but I still have it.
The bib stick?
Yeah, and it's great. I love that coat, and it was great, but it had, that was the concept that, you could start to take the liner out and wear the liner alone. We, at some point, we just became this disposable society, okay? And I've thought a lot about this. When I look back at my grandfather's gear, obviously he fought in a war, and he thought differently about things. But when I go to his closet and I see his old hunting coats, the waders, the old Hodgman and Red Ball waders that I grew up wearing, hip boots, if we got a hole in those rubber things, my grandfather would take garbage bags and put them on my legs
Done that.
and make me wear them, and then we'd glue the hole, and we just didn't throw stuff away. So that's one of the things behind what we're doing. Obviously, ours is modernized, right? The Hydrolock jacket you're talking about is not like my grandfather's Filson coat, but the concept is the same. It's serviceable, okay? And if something goes wrong with that outer rain shell, it should not affect your inner, warmth layer or the other layers that are part of our system. So you can use them all at different times. You can use them all at once, but they all have a job to do, and they're all serviceable. And the last thing we want somebody to do is have to throw away 3 pieces in one because one of the little pieces broke.
But and the jacket though, it's not just water resistant. This is made out of the same
Fully
thing
waterproof.
that your waders are made out of.
It's
right?
It's made out of the same nylon that our waders are made out of. Same digital printing process. It's really the same quality, same zipper manufacturer. Everything's the same.
And it's a good looking jacket. It doesn't look like a rain jacket. People go on their website, shingear.com. Make sure you go because you got to look at this jacket. Not only are there tons of amazing products, but this jacket, it's the hot thing.
Well, we like to think
At
so.
least in my eyes.
Everything new is the hottest
That's
thing.
right, man.
That's
But,
right.
it's a good looking jacket.
Yeah.
Clearly we knew we could make a raincoat, but when I talk about not making things just to have another SKU out there, we had, hunter after hunter after hunter ask us for a rain shell.
Yeah.
Just give me a rain shell that doesn't have a gimmick on it. So that's how that came. I'll tell you another one that we recently launched that came to us. It was never on our radar until everyone kind of had a chance to hunt a full season or so in our waders, the knee boots.
Yeah.
We got them around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I thought was pretty cool is, when you built the wader, you built your own boot, right?
Yeah.
And
So
then people wore the wader and they liked the boot and they said, man, this would be nice to have in a knee boot.
That's right. So what we heard is that we wanted the same. Everyone wanted the same comfort, fit, and feel of the boot, from the sole up to the ankle, and they wanted the durability of the wader. So that's exactly what we did. We've got a neoprene liner inside that provides a little bit of insulation, but it's not an insulated.
It's not
boot.
super thick and
No.
so warm that you can't wear it all year.
That's right. Now we did change the mold a little bit. We slimmed down the boot. Nobody wants to wear a big, bulky, heavy knee boot, but that boot comes in well under 4 pounds. It's got the same midsole, the same kind of cushion, and we added the zipper.
Yeah, it's kind
to
of
the
unique
side.
to a boot is the zipper.
Yeah, and they're tough. They're durable. I mean, I've put those through a couple turkey seasons and bow hunting. Now, of course, water and rice all summer, and everything we do, brushing blinds to get ready for duck season. But it's held up really, really well.
And kind of the same thing that you do on the waders. You've got some material in here on the other side of the zipper, kind of help for, I'm sure for comfort and to kind of help in case any water
exactly
or
right.
whatnot. But
Yep.
I mean, the zipper for me at least, I have to kick and pull and yank on my rubber boots, and this zipper getting in and out of them. I love my pair.
Yep.
I mean, you can pull them right on and right off, and zip them up, and you're good.
But that's a great example of something that we brought to market based off of customer feedback, and that's what's so unique about our economy today versus 10 years ago, or heck, even 5 years ago. These social media messages we were talking about earlier. We can interact directly with our customers now and get that feedback right down to the minute. We can get samples out there and really shorten the product cycle, the life cycle of these products, and get stuff that people actually want and they need.
Well, and the customer service, I know we've mentioned it twice so far, but anyone that buys anything from y'all, the very first thing, if they put it out there about the product, is the customer service. And I mean, of course, we know firsthand about the customer service, but a lot of people talk about it, but they don't really do it. Everyone that buys a product from y'all just compliments the customer service. So I do want everybody that watching at home, it's not just something they're selling themselves on. I mean, they really do this.
Well,
kind
it's
of
a
stuff.
mission. I mean, if there is such thing, that's kind of core to the culture of our brand. Our mission is to just not only meet expectations, but exceed expectations. So we are a tiny startup business, all right? But we're like a little family. I mean, Morgan Walker is our customer service department. Now, Ashley does a great job helping. Carter pitches in. We all help.
Yeah.
But Morgan runs that show, and she owns it. Okay, that's her baby. Dylan is our marketing. You know, we're not in stores. We're not in catalogs all across the country. Dylan Farrell is the Shin Gear marketing. Of course, we've got a bunch of great partners that help. But Carter and Byron are loading the trailer out there to drive around the country. You know, that's as grassroots and ground game as you get. But we're doing all that because we really, truly believe that there's a better way in this country to build product, deliver product, and to continue to have that relationship with the customer. Yeah. And it's so important to everything we're trying to do here. We don't want to just sell something.
Right.
We want to have a customer and a friend and view them as a family member for life. You know, and that's really the kind of the key tenet of what we're doing.
Well, and I know we don't have time, or we'd be here for 12 hours trying to get through every product. But you can see behind us, there's waders and jackets and pullovers and stuff to wear under and stuff to wear over. And so make sure you go to shingear.com, check out all of their line of waders and apparel, hats, hoodies, T-shirts. I mean, anything you can think of. There's all kinds of stuff. So make sure you go over, check out the new knee boot that they've got, all of their apparel. And again, that's shingear.com. Before we go to our next segment, we're going to take a short break. Before we do, we're going to have your tip of the week from the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.
Hey everybody, my name is Clint Park. I am the Lafayette County Game Warden with the Arkansas Game and Fish. This week's tip is going to be tree stand safety. Guys, I know that we leave stands out year-round. This year before we go hunt them, you know, we got muzzleloader season coming up quick, bow season's in. Guys, just make sure y'all are checking those trees. Make sure that they're still alive and not dead, not rotten. Guys, make sure that the straps on y'all's stands that hold the stand to the tree, that they're not, you know, rotten. Just make sure they're still good. That way that you're not going to fall out of that stand. Another tip is going to be to always wear your hunter safety system or any type of hunter safety system vest or anything. I mean, that could be the difference between your next hunt or your last hunt. Y'all have a good one.
Welcome back from the commercial break. This is the segment that I know Field's been looking forward to. He's had a long weekend traveling.
I'm ready to get through all that product stuff. So
that's right. Well,
it's the most fun. Huh?
Yeah. We like to call this last segment our final flight, and so this will be the last segment of the show. But before we go, we want to talk some duck hunting with Field Norris before we let him go. So, Field, tell us a little bit about where you hunt and kind of what you hunt.
Well, I hunt it all, and I would say my where I hunt, that's a tough question, but generally, it's northeast Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I'd say within an hour and a half or so of Memphis. I start off every year at a farm just outside of Jonesboro. The ducks are there now. I mean, they get there so early, and I feel like every year they get there earlier and earlier. But it's just a great early season.
That must be
kinda
nice, huh?
location.
Right. I think the season can't open soon enough for you.
Yeah,
huh?
we're thinking, oh my gosh.
If we could get a cold front between now and then, maybe we'll
Could
have
they-
a duck.
yeah.
They
or
will
two.
leave.
Yeah.
They will leave, but it's just for whatever reason. It's like that's one of the first places they stop.
That's why they're not coming to us. They're all over.
Well,
at
we
your
got
place.
those big reservoirs. You know.
But but do you do any hunting in Tennessee, or is it mostly in
I'll
Arkansas?
hunt
or-
anywhere. I hunt anywhere and everywhere. But but the farms that I spend most of my time, developing and living on are
Have you
all
been hunting in
Arkansas.
Arkansas your whole life?
I have. So I grew up hunting in Arkansas, and that's actually, one of the things that we, the founders of this business share in common. We all kind of grew up hunting in that same general area, and there's a huge French influence, in northeastern Arkansas. You've got the Cache, the Bayou de View,
Yeah.
the Langy River. So chêne is a French word for oak, and it's really a representation of what we all kind of that area really.
Yeah.
And so I grew up hunting there, and then went to college down in Oxford, and started hunting in Mississippi while I was down there.
You won't hold that against you.
Yeah, I hate to bring that up, but but I'm proud of it. It was a great. There's some great hunting down in the Mississippi Delta, and I still love to go down there with friends. But right now, my life is kind of from Jonesboro down to Mariana. Late season, month of January. That's probably little known secret is one of my favorite styles of hunting is actually big open water. We're a big timber brand, and we love our green timber hunting. But there's nothing like a January hunt on the Mississippi River and a little oxbow, willow flat with just big wads of fresh mallards. I mean, that's crisp north wind, clear sky. It's hard for me
Doesn't
to beat
get any
that.
better than that.
But now tell me about where y'all hunt. Now, I'm not going to lie and say I've ever hunted anywhere around your.
Well, we don't get to hunt up where you guys hunt, where all the ducks
Yeah,
are.
right.
Most of our hunting is down in southwest and even over into southeastern Arkansas, and so we hunt most of the time. He and I together hunt down around the southwest Arkansas part of the state, which
counties? What are your
duck-
primary counties down there?
Miller County, Hempstead County, Lafayette
River.
County, Little River County, those counties there, and so we hunt.
Same styles, though.
Yeah,
You have all the
I
same
mean,
stuff.
but we don't have a lot of the timber over there. We do have some, but it's not like it is,
It's
on
harder
the
to
eastern
find
side.
for sure.
Right.
But we do go over around the Dumas area and stuff like that and hunt.
We hunt a
Hunting
lot of
the timber.
oxbows. We hunt open water, sitting in buckbrush.
Yeah.
That's where we spend a lot of time sitting in buckbrush together.
Yeah.
So a little bit of variety of
That's
everything.
ducky stuff, though.
Yeah,
man. I mean, that's
yeah.
that's.
But
doesn't it-
speaking of over around Dumas, we always like to cross over the border and go to Doe's.
Oh, yeah.
the original
in Greenville,
Doe's.
Yep.
Now, if you've never been there,
you
it's
got to
kind
put
of a
that
sketchy
on.
place to go.
Everyone needs to put that on their list.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I didn't know what to expect. I'd heard about it, but we pulled up and a cop walked us to the door.
Yeah.
And seriously, I'm not
I've
not
got a few
exaggerating.
stories like that.
But there was a cop. I guess they have to pay him to be there. He was working security, and he full uniform walked us to the door. Great meal. Then he walked us back out again. And it was something else.
God bless them.
So I had a just kind of a personal question for you. Is there any one person or one hunting experience that maybe instilled in you the hunter that you are today?
Oh man, that is so tough. There's three people, and I'm not trying to take the easy way out, but my grandfather, my dad, and my mom. So I grew up in somewhat maybe a unique family where my mom is one of four. She had three older brothers. Well, three brothers. She's actually the second. But she went with my grandfather, took all of them. And so she was picking ducks when she was 7 or 8 years old, and she's a better shot than anyone in the family. So I grew up kind of going into the same woods, the same hole. It was a family hole. And I went with my grandfather, my mom, and my dad. And I guess one of my, this is not the type of experience that you're looking for, but I'm going to kind of throw you off track here. My first duck, this is this is sad, but it's instrumental in my upbringing.
Getting
here.
worried.
He's building the anticipation.
My grandfather was in the hole, and there were a bunch of men in there, and I kicked over. I was in a blind. They would stick me in the back of the blind, and the plan is that everyone shoots their ducks, and then they get out of the woods, and then my dad and grandfather push me out into the middle of the hole, basically in the little boat, as an 8-year-old, and I have a single shot, 20 gauge, Green Wing edition DU gun that we got from a DU banquet. And so I'm waiting all morning. Well, I kicked my dad's. He had a side-by-side, an old side-by-side propped up in the blind, and he was finished shooting ducks. I kicked it into the water accidentally. So he waded out of the woods to go clean his gun and put it up in the case, and I sat back, and as soon as everyone finished and started walking out, I don't know what came over me, but a big wad of greenheads came in, and I said, "Granddad, I gotta shoot. He said, "Well, no, wait." I eased up in the blind. I grabbed that 20 gauge, threw a shell in, popped up, shot my first duck. And my dad walking back into the blind with me jumping up and down, and my grandfather just looked terrified. He missed it, man.
So was your first duck a greenhead?
My first duck, yeah.
I thought he was going to say it was a coot.
No, that was it.
I thought
If
you were
you
going to
shoot
say you
coots,
shot at a
that's
whole
okay.
group of greenheads.
So-
And you shot the only hen in the group.
And I feel bad to this day that I did that, and my dad missed it, but it was really special to have my grandfather there. So with my kids, I'm like real hypersensitive that I'm going to make sure I'm there.
right.
And we're not going to leave it to anybody else.
Well, this is probably a loaded question maybe or whatnot, because I think I know your answer already. But what's your favorite duck to kill? If you had to pick one.
I'm telling all my secrets here. Don't ask me about my favorite mossy oak pattern, because that's going to be really hard for everybody to. I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this, but I love a green wing teal.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm a teal guy.
I don't think that
it's
that
the
you're
best
going
eating
to.
duck.
I agree.
And there's just something about when I leave with 6 teal, I feel like I'm just going to have a great meal. And I love the mallard. Mallard's king, and I probably need to say that, but man, I love a good little teal shoot.
Garrett loves the
here we go.
spoonies.
Here we go.
There we go. All right.
Because
guy.
he can stand in
That's
the
a lie, by the
decoys,
way.
and they come in anyways. No, I'm just
They're
giving you a hard
fun.
time.
They're fun to
Giving you a hard
shoot.
time.
Yeah.
Spoonies
What do
are
y'all
fun
get?
to shoot.
Do y'all still get a lot of mallards down there?
we
We
get a
kill
lot
a
of
good
mallards,
mix of ducks where we hunt. We hunt. We
Yeah.
kill a lot of gadwall, a lot of mallards, a good mix of pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Which is always fun, killing mixed bags.
All right, now I know you got a little baby,
I do.
brand new. How old now?
About
6
2 months.
2
Yeah.
months. Wow.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I've got a
Garrett?
3-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl.
Okay. Well, your 8-year-old. It's time to take her.
It's getting there. Yeah.
Oh, she already wants to go.
That may be
This
your
may be
ticket.
your
That
first
may be
year.
your ticket to come hunt in our woods with us.
When she sees this,
I'm a sucker for kids now. I mean, that to me, there is nothing like
Can
taking
I bring
the
his
next
daughter in and
generation.
go?
You got to wait. You've got a few years on yours.
when she sees this, I won't get out of that this year. She'll
good.
be going.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and and speaking of kids, we talked about this with you off camera, and we said it a little bit at the beginning of the show, but we want to make this show as family friendly and as kid friendly as we can, and we're gonna have a couple kids on this first season on to talk about some hunting experiences and first deer or first ducks that they killed, and so that's something that he and I having kids, me of course just recently, but even before then, that's what it's all about. Because we don't have any of this unless someone teaches us
Absolutely.
at a younger age
Absolutely.
and teaches us the right way to do it. Because and I don't want to be too controversial with us putting out our first episode of this show, but there's so many outdoorsmen, especially guys and girls, and that hunt waterfowl that just don't do it the right way anymore, and it's become more of a competition and things that turn people. I guess unsportsmanlike would be the word for it, but that's.
And they're all different reasons for
that.
that. There's so many. I mean, we were fortunate that we were raised the way we were raised. We were raised to appreciate it, respect it, do it the right way, put in the work. I mean, that's something that I have to remind myself every day, constantly. Just with my kids, that you don't get to just show up and shoot ducks.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work. You got to throw the bug bombs in the duck camp, you know, a month before season to kill all the wasps. You got to clean out the dead rats. You got to rig decoys, brush blinds. And so the work ethic, we've got to try to continue to instill that in our new hunters. And it's just people that are new to the sport and all they know maybe is what they see on social media or on TV. They just don't know any better. So to me, it is such a precious opportunity that we have to be able to do it, and it can be gone pretty quickly.
Right.
You know, so the conservation aspect of what's in all of us is so important, that we take care of the resource and we continue to introduce new people to the sport, not just kids, but you know, adults. We've got to have that. Let's call it what it is. That's the funding source that continues to fund the refuge system and all the studies and the habitat improvement plans and everything that we need to make sure ducks survive. So.
Right, and I feel like that's something, you know, just full circle with the kids and everything that you're talking about with conservation and it all. Is like that's something that Shin also takes seriously, and you kind of put your you know, where your mouth is with the duck stamp program. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's a neat deal. So Jeff Jones had that idea. Last year, we kind of surprised everybody with a free pair of wader pants in their order with their waders. And we wanted to do something this year that was somewhat of a surprise or a gift, but we wanted it to be a little more meaningful. And he just had a great idea to include, you know, every waterfowler, anybody that's buying a pair of waders is going to need a federal duck stamp. And back to your point, Brian, about, you know, unfortunately some of the people that are newer to our sport may not appreciate all the traditions and all the, you know, all the things that we went through, you know, 100 years ago. This program needs to be, every duck hunter, every conservationist needs to understand the duck stamp program. So unlike a lot of our federal programs in this country, again, not to be too controversial, but
go right ahead.
I don't know of many bureaucratic programs that can say 98 cents of every dollar, 98% of the funds raised from the federal duck stamp go directly into habitat and conservation measures. So it's just the most efficient federal program we have in the country. So we're trying to raise awareness. We're saying thank you by taking care of your duck stamp for you. But if you already have a duck stamp this year and you buy a pair of waders, please consider giving this one to somebody that's not familiar with the program or a collector, somebody that doesn't even duck hunt, but explain the program to them and why it's pretty neat to collect these stamps.
Yeah, and that's something that, you know, just goes a little deeper into it. You know, a lot of people think that, you know, just giving money to the government for this or that, and they don't really understand that there's a program behind it that does so many things that we could sit and talk forever on. But, you know, I encourage people to go and, you know, Google and look
study
up and
it.
see
I mean,
what all
spend
that
5 or
is.
10 minutes and study the program and the history behind the program and where the money goes. And I'll just challenge everybody to share that story. We've got plenty of time sitting in the duck blind, you know, during hunting season to share stories and educate people who may not be familiar with that stuff.
Yeah, and it's not just, you know, the wader pant was great, which, you know, we bought ours last year. We got them. We love them, which is another, you know, thing online that you can go and purchase. But it's just the thought that goes behind it for us. Yeah. I mean, the federal stamp is how much now? I don't even know. I just buy one every year.
$30,
but
like
you know,
that.
it's just not really about how much it is of the gift you're getting from y'all. It's more of the thought of what you're doing behind conservation, and as sportsmen that you're giving something that's so meaningful. And you know, I just hope that everyone appreciates it as much as we do, because we really think that it's a great gesture.
Well, I appreciate that. And we've got, you know, we do have a platform now to raise awareness on a litany of different things. We're going to try to stay out of any controversy, but it is, you know, it's a precious thing to have however many people are paying attention to our story and our social media and kind of the things that we're doing in the community. So we're going to try to use that to benefit waterfowl in particular.
Yeah.
But as we all know, what benefits waterfowl benefits the entire ecosystem and every other critter that's out there. So
let's change gears just a second. I got another question for you. Besides the duck, what's your go-to duck call? There's a lot of duck calls out there. What does Phil Norris blow? If he picks up that one call that he knows that he can get them in with, what is it?
I'm not gonna answer that one. That's a setup. I can hear my phone ringing now. All these guys, all my buddies making these cut downs. I just can't blow them. I'm determined to learn how to blow a cut down this year.
I would love to as well.
I told Carter the other day. Carter is doing. So we started a pretty neat little series where any small batch, custom call maker out there that's willing to partner with us, we're kind of raising awareness for what those guys do. Those guys are real artisans. I mean, that's an artistic quality. So he's the one tasked with the soundboarding, and showing everybody what it's like. And I told him he's going to need to give me some lessons. And now we got Byron back there who ought to really be able to help me. But anyway, I'm a single reed. So as a kid, I kind of tried to travel around and call in some of these contests, but I've always been traditionally just an open water, single reed, loud, calling. And I like to kind of pinch it down in the woods, and I do a lot of weird, whining on the call, and it sounds.
That's probably what Brian would say I do.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whining is usually what I do when he.
I like to finesse. I'm more of a finesse, kind of soft talk to the ducks in the woods. With these cut down guys, man, I have a hard time standing next to them.
It takes a lot of air.
It's
to
cool
blow,
though. It's neat.
Yeah. And I'm on your side. I can't blow a cut down. I would love to because I think they're so cool.
Oh yeah.
And I like the sound of them, but I can't blow a cut down either.
Well, I only had one call on my lanyard last year, and I don't know. I can't remember exactly what happened to my other call, but I caught a lot of heat for having that one call and all these pictures and stuff. I'm probably gonna have 15 hanging on my neck this year. I got so many friends, and they're all great. But,
I hear you. Yeah. Well, look, we appreciate you so much for coming on here and spending time with us. Our very first episode. I know we've worked on it for a long time. The friendship and partnership between you guys with us, we just really, really appreciate it. And
I think it's great. Again, what y'all are doing is great, and you're in a neat area and a neat part of the world down there that has a lot of history and a lot of tradition, and it's not lost on me. I mean, that's one of the things I look forward to in the next 10 years of my life is making an effort to get to all these little nooks and crannies.
Yeah, hopefully we can get together at some point.
Definitely. Look forward to that.
Well, man, we appreciate it very much. Again, go over to shingear.com, check out all of their full line of apparel and waders, all kinds of stuff. Go over and get you a visor or a hat. We've all got the hats on here. I'm not sure which ones are available because they go quick, but make sure you go over and check out all of their full line of apparel and waders. And so with that, we're going to be done with our very first episode of Live from the Blind. We appreciate you for tuning in. Make sure you go and like us on Instagram and on Facebook so that you can keep up with all of our news, find out when our next episode is and who we're going to have on there with us. And so again, Field, we appreciate you. A big thank you to Shin for being a sponsor and a partner with us. We appreciate everything that they do and all of the great gear they're putting out, made by hunters for hunters. And it is truly built better.
Yeah.
So, we appreciate you. But look, we'll see you next time right here on Live from the Blind.